أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، شفيع المذنبين وخاتم النبيين، نبينا وشفينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا بالقاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن الإسامة التي جاحدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد، وهو أصدق الصادقين وقوله الحق. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما أرسلنا من رسول إلا ليطاع بإذن الله ولو أنهم إذ ظلموا أنفسهم جاهدوا فاستغفروا الله واستغفر لهم الرسول لوجدوا الله توابا رحيما. آمنا بالله وصدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات محمد وعلى محمد. Elders of the community, respected scholars, my brothers and sisters in Islam, Salamun alaykum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمساعدنا بعباد الله الحسين عليه الصلاة والسلام. The ayah of the Quran that I have recited from Surah An-Nisa is ayat number 64, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we did not send any messenger. It says we did not send any messenger, but that he should be obeyed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he should be obeyed by Allah's permission. And had the people, when they did injustices to themselves, meaning when they committed sins, had those people come to you, Allah is saying to the Prophet, as those people come to you and asked forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the messenger had also asked forgiveness for them, the messenger had also asked forgiveness for them, then they would have found Allah to be most merciful. This ayah, and there are many other ayahs, of course, in the Holy Quran, alludes to the concept of Wasila and Tawassul. And my topic today is around Tawassul and Wasila. The definition of Tawassul, of course, is that it is a definition whereby, especially in the school of the Ahlulbayt, we seek a means to get to the proximity and nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek a means through which we get proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, this is a Quranic concept. There is no question about it. And my lecture today is not to convince the people who don't believe in Tawassul from the other schools of thought about Tawassul. My objective today is to talk about Tawassul in the way that the school of Ahlulbayt needs to understand about Tawassul. Because even within our own particular sect, even within our own people, there are a lot of questions about Tawassul and Wasila. Of course, it is a Quranic concept. There are many ayats in the Holy Quran. You will see, for example, the brothers of Yusuf, they came to Yusuf and asked Yusuf to ask forgiveness for them. So they used Yusuf as a means of Wasila, to ask Yusuf to ask Allah to forgive them. And in the spiritual journey that we take, and inshallah we are all on that journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have many keys and many tools. And one of the most important keys in the school of the Ahlulbayt is to do wasila, to do tawassul. To seek the help of the Ahlulbayt as a means to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, there are many objections, to the concept of tawassul. And the reasons we have these objections is because we have not defined it and we have not understood it properly. And the objections, as I mentioned, do not only come from the other sects of Islam, like our brothers in Ahl Sunnah. They come from actually within as well, within the Shia sects as well. The objections are sometimes very clear, and the youth particularly have a lot of these objections when it comes to Tawassul and Wasila. They say, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I'm closer to you than your own jugular vein, Allah says, I'm closer to you than your own jugular vein. Why is it that if Allah is that close to me than my own jugular vein, then I can communicate with Him directly? Why do I need a wasila? Allah says, I'm closer to you than your jugular vein. Then why is it that I need wasila? I can connect with Him directly. The problem is that we have not understood when Allah says, I'm close to you than your jugular vein. Because when we look at when Allah is saying, I'm close to you than your jugular vein, we always interpret it as a physical closeness. But it is not a physical closeness because Allah is not a physical entity. Yes? Allah is not a physical entity. When Allah says, I'm closer to you than your jugular vein, it is in the context of a metaphysical reality. It is in the context of a spiritual reality. And the fact that Allah, when you look at physical versus spiritual closeness, in physical closeness, if somebody is close to you, you have to be close to them. But when you look at spiritual closeness, if somebody is close to you, that does not necessarily mean that you are close to them. Yes? Because closeness in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ma'rifah. The more ma'rifah you have of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more understanding you have of the reality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more close you are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not physical, it's metaphysical. Right? The other thing is that, our understanding of tawassul, sometimes we try and understand it the way we understand on how we can use other people in this world. Yes? And this is because what we do in this world. In this world, if you are connected with somebody who is very influential, if you are connected to somebody who is in a high place, if you are a very influential place, you are connected with that person, what you will do is you will try and use that influence, that connection, so that that person can give you something that you don't even deserve. Yes? So if you want a job and you know you are not qualified for this job, you know it. There are other people who have applied who are more qualified than you. But you have a contact, you have a connection. You know that your wife's brothers, sisters, dad, is the CEO of the company. So you use that influence, you use that means, that connection in order for you to get that job, even though you do not deserve it. And we look at actually tawassul in that same way. We think, in the same way we think that there are certain things that I cannot get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are certain blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I cannot get. There are certain rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are certain mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I cannot get. There are certain graces of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I am not deserving of. So what we think is, if I can connect to the Ahlulbayt, they will then get that for me because they are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I will use their influence to get something for me that I may not even deserve. This is how we think of tawassul. Of course, if you think of it like that, then the question obviously comes up that the youth is going to ask, is this not a form of discrimination then? Sounds very much to me like a form of discrimination. You are trying to get something from Allah that you do not deserve. You are using the Ahlulbayt to do that. Is it not a form of discrimination? Number one. The other thing is that now it creates a level of, it encourages a level of laziness. And you think to yourself that, alhamdulillah, I have the Ahlulbayt. I have Imam al-Hussein. So it doesn't matter if I don't pray, and if I don't fast, and if I don't do my wajibat, I have Aba Abdullah, alhamdulillah. Yes, kullu Shia in Jannah, whatever it is that we say, all the Shias will go to Jannah. Yes, you have this, now you get this conception in your mind that I have the Ahlulbayt. Imam Jafar as-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He says, we the Ahlulbayt, we have not promised bara'ah. We have promised shafa'ah. We have not promised exemption. We have promised intercession. You have to be deserving of something in order for you to get our intercession. You have nothing, bro, nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to help you. Right? So we have to understand that, our concept of tawassul needs to change. Of course, then the question comes, why do I have to do tawassul? Why do I have to do tawassul? We say that, we do tawassul to the Ahlulbayt so that the Ahlulbayt can convince Allah to be more merciful towards me. We want the Ahlulbayt to convince Allah to be more merciful to me. We want the Ahlulbayt to convince Allah to be more graceful to me. We want the Ahlulbayt to convince Allah to shower more blessings and gifts onto me. Seriously? Allah needs to be convinced. This is the concept we have of Allah. That now Allah is not convinced. So He needs the Ahlulbayt to convince Him. This doesn't make any sense, when you look at this. It doesn't make any sense that you think that you're going to use the Ahlulbayt to convince Allah to give you something that you don't deserve. Doesn't make sense. The way, therefore, my friends, to look at Tawassul and Wasila is that Tawassul is a means, a very important means, by which you are able to increase your own existential capacity to be able to receive those blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what tawassul is. By doing tawassul, you are increasing your own capacity to be able to receive the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are changing yourself by doing tawassul, by then increasing that capacity so that you can receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what tawassul is about. Tawassul is actually benefiting from the Ahlulbayt to increase that own existential capacity so that you are able to accept the blessing. Look at what the sixth Imam has done. And the sixth Imam is on his deathbed. He is taking the last breaths of his life. Last breaths. His wife, whose name was Hamida. Hamida was from North Africa. Hamida was from North Africa. 6th Imam, 7th Imam, 8th Imam, 9th Imam, 10th Imam, 11th Imam, all had wives from North Africa. We have this concept. If I am Sayyid, mashallah, I have to marry a Sayyid. The king of Sayyids married somebody from North Africa. Anyway, that's not my topic today. Yes? Hamida is standing next to the 6th Imam. He's on his last breaths. You know, the Imam, whenever they say something, of course, it is golden, is it not? Every hadith of an Imam is golden. But when they say something as the last thing before they die, the last wasiyat, the last nasiyat that they give us before they die, that has to be very important. Does it not? What does the 6th Imam say? The 6th Imam says, he gathers his family around. He says to Hamida, gather everybody around. And so everybody is gathered around. And he says that, look, I want to say something. And he says, I want to tell you that know that my shafa'ah, my intercession, my tawassul will not benefit anyone who takes his salah lightly. It's the last thing he said. What does that mean? It means that we have to do certain things. We have to carry out certain acts in order to be deserving of the tawassul of the Ahlulbayt. The moment we don't do our obediences to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more we are in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what that does, it constricts our capacity to accept the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we sin, the more we disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more we do ignore our wajibat, that constricts our capacity to receive the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we do the good things, it expands our capacity to accept the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what the Imam is trying to say. Then you can call out to Aba Abdullah all you want. You can call out to Imam Hussein all you want, but if you are deficient in your moral and ethical character, if you have not carried out those wajibat, if you do not have the principles of morality and ethics in you, then it will not have an effect. Yeah? This is the purpose of Muharram. The purpose of Muharram is it expands your existential capacity. The purpose of Muharram is to allow you to transform and reform yourself so that that existential capacity increases and you are able to receive the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now the next question comes is, how do we do tawassul? We need to discuss the various ways in which we are going to do tawassul. And like I said to you before, everything in Islam has levels. Yes? You will see in these 12 majlises, when I recite 10 majlises, inshallah, you will see that I will always allude to the fact that everything has levels. So even when it comes to tawassul, there are different levels of tawassul on how we perform tawassul. Recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So there are many levels of doing tawassul. Many levels of doing tawassul. The lowest level of tawassul is what we do, which is the apparent level. That's the lowest level of tawassul. Here, where we are calling out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the names of the Ahlulbayt. We do that in dua tawassul, for example. Yes, inshallah, this community recites dua tawassul. Yes? And you know, the examples, the best examples of the apparent way of doing tawassul is actually to have the majalis of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. If you look at the hadith, if you look at the narration, you will see that the majalis of Imam al-Husayn, the weeping of Imam al-Husayn, the crying on the musibah of Aba Abdullah al-Husayn, the ziyarah of Aba Abdullah al-Husayn, the azah of Imam Hussein is one of the best ways of tawassul, the apparent tawassul that we do. See, normally we turn to the Ahlulbayt in this apparent level even when we want something fixed in our worldly affairs, yes? We say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I need you to fix this, I need you to fix that, I need this deal, I need the beamer, I need the car, I need a good wife, good looking wife. Doesn't matter how I look, but the wife has to be pretty. Yes? I need all of that. Yes? And we then ask, you know, tawassul, we ask the Ahlulbayt as a means to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in an apparent way. Yes, this is what I want. What we have not figured out is, what we have not realized, that more than your worldly desires, and I'm not saying you don't ask Allah through the Ahlulbayt for your worldly needs. The Holy Prophet says that ask even for your shoelaces. Yes, through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm not saying you don't do that, but what we have not sometimes, you know, we ignore the fact that the Ahlulbayt are the best wasila, they are the best means for us to increase our spirituality. When have we given Allah the wasila of the Ahlulbayt to increase our spirituality and religiosity? When have we done that? You know, Allama Tabatabai, he says that whenever I wanted to pierce those veils and those barriers in my journey towards the proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said I was able to do it in two ways. One was that I would be able to do it with the recitation of the Holy Quran, and the second way was to do the majalis and the azah of Aba Abdullah al-Husayn. You know, Sayyid Ali Qadi is this great mujtahid who was the teacher of Allama Tabatabai and Ayatollah Bahjat. Everybody knows Ayatollah Bahjat, eh? You know, the great spiritual saint, an Arab, yes? He was the teacher, Sayyid Ali Qadi, he was the teacher of Ayatollah Bahjat and Allama Tabatabai. And he says that, you know, he says, if you would like to have the secrets of spirituality, to have the doors of spirituality open up for you, then do the majalis of Imam al-Husayn every week in your house. Even if there is only two of you, even if it is just you and your spouse, Do a majalis for 10 minutes, 15 minutes of Imam al-Hussein, and doors of spirituality will open up. See, by doing this apparent level of tawassul, what are you doing? You are developing a love for the Ahlulbayt. A love for the Ahlulbayt because of the goodness that is in them. Now, because of their goodness, because of their values, because of their principles, because of their great virtues that they have, now you start to love those virtues by loving the Ahlulbayt. As you love the Ahlulbayt, you start to love those virtues, and as you start to love those virtues, it expands your existential capacity. It expands your capacity now to receive more blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the lowest level of tawassul. Right? Sometimes what we do is we create obstacles for ourselves. Yes? The common question, for example, asked by the youth is it better for me to sit in the majalis of Imam Hussein, or is it better for me to do something good for humanity? Because when I come and sit in this majalis, I have a boring speaker like me, and I don't get anything out of it. I don't get anything out of it. It's better for me just to serve humanity, do something good for humanity. And because of that, then the community leadership says, oh, we need to change. We need to change the way we do majalis. We need to make sure that we have technology. You know, we use technology now because we're in the level of technology, so we need to use technology to change the format of our majalis. And I'm not against that. I'm not against you changing format, whatever you need to do in order to engage the youth. But this question, do I sit in the majalis or do I go and do something for humanity, is only asked because you don't understand the importance of the wasila of the Ahlulbayt. Because by sitting in this majalis, you are expanding your existential capacity in order to be able to receive those blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This Farsha Allah that you are sitting in is not a joke. You don't get that by sitting at home and just going online. Of course, I know if you are working and so on and so forth, of course, I understand, I get it. Even I work, and I can't attend all the majlises. But at least make an effort to come to some majlises, if you can. Because sitting in the Farshi Allah, what it does is it opens up that capacity, because now you are in that environment, an environment where I tell you Fatima al-Zahra is sitting. So that is the lowest level of tawassul. The higher level of tawassul than that is tawassul amali. Yes, it's a higher level of tawassul. Here you are doing tawassul to the Ahlulbayt, not just by doing dua and asking Allah through the Ahlulbayt. Here you are now emulating the Ahlulbayt in your actions. Tawassul amali. This is a higher level of tawassul. You are now following the ways of the Ahlulbayt. Whatever they have taught us, you are implementing those values, those principles, those virtues in your own life. And once you start to role model the Ahlulbayt, that now creates an ethical and moral framework in your character, which then expands your capacity to receive more blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawassul amali. Yes? Your character now starts to reflect the character of the Ahlulbayt. When your character starts to reflect the character of the Ahlulbayt, when you start to live like them, then you have a very powerful tool whereby you expand your capacity and Allah's blessings come to you. That is very important. You know, there is a story of our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, sallallahu alayhi wa. Imam was once walking home from Masjid al-Nabawi. He was in the masjid after Salah. He was walking home. And one of his companions followed him, was walking behind him. And this companion, throughout the journey from the masjid all the way into the house, he was praising the fifth Imam. He was saying that you are the fifth Imam, you are the grandson of the Prophet, you have this virtue, you have this principle, you have this value, you are such a good person. He was doing, you know, he was praising the Imam throughout the journey from the mosque to the house. Imam was walking, he was behind him. Imam did not even look behind. He just kept walking. When they reached the house, finally this man said to Imam, says, Yabta Rasulullah, all throughout the road, all throughout the journey, I have been praising you. I've been talking about your virtues and your, principles and your values, and I've been praising you. Not once did you look back and even acknowledge me. And the Imam said to me, and then the Imam turned, and he said to this person, if you had been praising me, then tell me, why do you not follow my way? Why do you not follow me in your actions? The praise that you are giving me is of no use if you are not going to follow me in your actions. That's why I didn't acknowledge you. Recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Once, the Holy Prophet Musa, he was going onto the mountain. He was going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes? He was going to go and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was going into the mountains. And as he was passing, he saw one man in sujood. And this man was praying, and he was praying earnestly, and he was asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was praying and asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much in sujood, crying, weeping, asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in sujood, all the time. Musa saw him. Musa went into the mountains. He came back a few days later, and he saw this same man still in sujood, still asking. Same thing he's asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Holy Prophet Musa, he said to this man, he said, oh man, he said, if it had been in my hands, he said, if it had been in my hands, I would have given you whatever you wanted a long time ago. And when he said that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now reveals something to Musa. Allah says to Musa that, look Musa, he can do and continue to do whatever he wants to do. I will never give him what he wants. And Musa says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, why is that? Why is that you will not give him whatever he wants? And Allah says that until such time that he follows my obediences and he refrains from my disobedience, I will not give him anything that he wants. Allah, in the Quranic concept, Allah in the Quran says that, if you want me to help you, then you help me. Allah is saying to them, Musa, that I will not give him as long as he is not in my obedience and he does not follow my obedience and he does not refrain from my disobedience. He can do sujood for as long as he wants. I'm not giving him it. This is Tawassul Amali. Yes? When you are missing your salah, you remember Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura, and you remember the way he recited Salat and his companions recited Salat in the heat of the battle, and then you say to myself that I am going to follow my Imam, and I am going to pray my Salat, because if he was able to do it in the heat of the battle, surely I can do it here. Then you are doing Tawassul Amali. And what that does, it increases and expands your capacity to receive more from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there is an even higher level of Tawassul than this. The highest level of Tawassul is that level whereby you understand the status of the Ahlulbayt. It's the most important level. To understand the status of the Ahlulbayt, understand that they are the interface between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Understand that the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala flows to all his creations through the Ahlulbayt. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is immaterial, yes? Allah is infinite, is immaterial. Allah is not bound by space and time. He is as single can be. He is completely non-compound, yes? Is infinite, immaterial, as single can be. He is not made up of parts. You cannot separate the attributes of Allah from his essence. Yes? We say Allah is alim. No. Allah is ilm. We say Allah is merciful. No. Allah is mercy. Because you cannot separate his attributes from his essence. Allah is immaterial. Now tell me, Allah is infinite. Allah is immaterial. We, the creation, we are finite. We are limited. How can an infinite, unlimited, uncompound, infinite person, how can that reality which is immaterial and infinite, how can that transfer its grace and mercy on a creation that is finite and limited? It's not possible. It's not possible. Of course you'll say, well, it's Allah. Allah can do anything he wants. This is what we say, right? It's Allah. Allah can do anything he wants. This is true. Allah can do anything he wants. The problem is not in the provider. The problem is not in the creator. His grace, his mercy, his benevolence, it's pouring down on you. The problem is with us. It's with our capacity. We are finite and limited, that we cannot accept that intensity of the grace and mercy of Allah. Let me give you an example. Make it easy for you. It's like the sun and the rays of the sun. Yes? If you think about the sun and its rays, the sun has intensity, and it emanates its rays with full intensity. But by the time those rays of the sun fall onto us, it goes through many different barriers, does it not, in the atmosphere? It goes through many different barriers. It gets diluted and diluted and diluted, and then it comes to us in a form whereby we are able to accept it. You would not be able to bear the intensity of the sun directly, could you? You cannot bear the intensity of the sun directly. It needs to go through those barriers to be diluted, so that by the time it comes to you, you are able to bear it and utilize it and accept it. It's the same thing. The intensity of the essence of Allah is such that we are not able to accept it because of our finite creation. It needs a means for us to come to us, and that means is the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. You know, let me give you another example. I want to make this very clear. My time is running out. Always the time runs out. You know, I came to New Zealand, and the first thing I realized when I first came to New Zealand, this time I have forgotten, but the first thing I realized, and Qasim Bhai told me, is that your outlet here is 230 volts. Yes? Your outlet's 230 volts. The stuff that I had with me from Canada is 120 volts. So now, if I was to put my 120 volt machine in your 230 volt outlet, what's going to happen? My machine's going to blow up, right? So the first thing Qasim Bhai said to me is, do you have an adapter? Do you have a transformer? A transformer that can take the intensity of the 230 volt and change that intensity to a 120 so that your machine can work. The problem is with my machine, not with your outlet. It needs a Wasila, it needs a transformer to be able to transform from what it is getting from that outlet to my machine. Yes? And this is what it is. You know, you have a bulb and it has a filament. The filament of that bulb will only, you know, the electricity is constant. But what will happen is that that filament will be changed and will only be able to be utilized according to the wattage of that particular bulb. Yes? You need that medium. The intensity of the grace of Allah is so vast that it cannot flow directly to its creation because the creation does not have the capacity to accept it. You need something in the middle. You need that perfect human being, that perfect creation that can take that can take the grace, that can take the mercy, that can take the benevolence from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then be able to transmit it to the creation in the form that the creation is able to accept it. That is Wasila. And we have to understand that the highest means of this is the Ahlulbayt. It's the Ahlulbayt because creation comes into being in the form of an emanation and manifestation. It's a manifestation of the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most perfect manifestation is the Ahlulbayt. The Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. The fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. One day somebody asked the fifth Imam, they said, what is the first thing that Allah created? And the fifth Imam said that the Holy Prophet has said. that the first thing that was created by Allah was the light of the Holy Prophet. And then the fifth Imam said that from that light, he created all goodness. All of creation was created from that light of the Prophet. This is that reality of the Prophet is the means by which all of creation was created. It's called Haqiqat Muhammadiyya. It's according to Irfan, and I don't want to get into Irfan too deeply because I don't want to confuse you. But that is what it is. And let me illustrate to you with some examples, that it makes it easy. We have to understand the status of the Ahlulbayt. So for example, if you take the concept of salawat, yes? The concept of salawat, you understand what is the true meaning of salawat? Sometimes we ask this question, why do we recite salawat? Why do we recite salawat? Does it benefit the Ahlulbayt for us to recite salawat? We are sending blessings on the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. Do they really need our blessings? Do they need Allah's blessings that we are saying, oh Allah, send your blessings to the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt? It's a question that comes up. Why do we recite salawat? What is what we need to recognize is that when we recite salawat, we are recognizing the position of the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. We are recognizing their position as a means through which the grace of God flows to us. We recognize the means. Recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Inshallah, I hope it's not an emergency. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So if you look at salawat, the reason we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His blessings on the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt is because by sending the blessings to the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt, we recognize that the blessings that we receive, those blessings come from the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. So if we ask Allah to increase His blessings on the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt, what we are saying to Allah, increase your blessings to them, because by increasing your blessings to them, they will be able to give us blessings that will emanate from them to us. Because for us, we only receive through the Holy Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. Because we cannot receive directly from Allah. This is the higher level of Tawassul. Recognizing the status of the Ahlulbayt, right? That's when you're saying that, you're saying to God, I want your mercy, but your mercy cannot flow to me directly. So, Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So that send your blessings to the Holy Prophet and his Ahlulbayt. And by doing so, I will be able to receive the blessings, more blessings from them, because you have increased your blessings on the Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. That is why we recite salawat. And this is why you have been asked to recite salawat before a dua and after your dua. Sandwich your dua between two salawats. Because if you do that, then I'm telling you, you will see the power of salawat. The power of salawat is so great because it is the highest form of wasila. Understanding that everything that you get, every creation, that every creation is created through the light of the Prophet and the Ahlulbayt. You know, the fourth Imam, for example, you'll see in du'as, in Makarim al-Akhlaq, he uses salawat 18 times in Makarim al-Akhlaq. 18 times. Give me another example. I'll give you another example. The example of Hadith Kisa. Yes? Ya malaikati wa ya sukana samawati inni khalaqtu sama'an mabniya wa la arzan madhiya wa la kamaran munira wa la shamsan mudhiya wa la falakan yadur wa la bahran yajri wa la fulkan yasri illa fi muhabbati ha'ula'i al-khamsati alladhina hum tahta al-kisa. We recite, yes? We're saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh my angels, the Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh my angels, oh residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the sky, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, the sailing ships. Why have I created them? I have not created them but for the love of these five who are underneath that cloak. What Allah is saying, that the entire creation that I have created through these five who are under the cloak, the Ahlulbayt. This is when you understand the importance of Tawassul. This level of Tawassul is the highest level of Tawassul, the perfect. Understanding the status of the Ahlulbayt. And I have to tell you that the personality that we're going to talk about today is that personality who understood the level of Tawassul of the Ahlulbayt. I will tell you one thing. We are going to talk about Khur ibn Yazid al-Riyah. Khur is that personality. I tell you, wallahi, whenever I do dua, I say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I can perhaps not attain the level of the ashab of Imam Hussein. Make me into somebody who would be a servant of Khur. This man, what saved him on the day of Ashura is the Wasila and Tawassul of the highest level that we talked about that he had for Fatima al-Zahra. That's what saved him. And this is a lesson for us. And remember this one thing, my friends. Remember this one thing. When all is lost in your life, and you find yourself rock bottom in your spirituality, you find yourself rock bottom, at that time take the Wasila of Fatima al-Zahra. By Allah, she will not disappoint you. Khur stops Hussein in the desert, and he does not allow him to go to Kufa or Medina. He gets hold of the reins of Aba Abdullah and Hussein's horse. And when he does that, the Imam says to Khur, Khur, may your mother weep on you. And when Khur hears this, look at how Fatima al-Zahra saves Khur. Khur says to Aba Abdullah and Hussein, he says that by Allah, had your mother not been Fatima al-Zahra, had your mother been somebody else, then I would have replied to you, but Ya Aba Abdullah, your mother is Fatima al-Zahra. And I cannot even utter the words Fatima al-Zahra. This is wrong. On the day of Ashura, he is agitated, he is nervous, as he hears, the sounds of the crying he hears the sounds of the crying of the children. Al-Atash, Al-Atash. And he says to himself, and he goes to one of the soldiers, and he says to this soldier, he says that I find myself today between heaven and hell. But he says, you know, as I find myself between heaven and hell, I have only one worry. And the worry that I have is, what will I reply to the mother of Hussein? What will I reply to the mother of Hussein? This is more. You know, after Hur was forgiven by Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, he requests the Imam, after Hur had arrived to the camp of Imam Hussein, and he was forgiven by Imam Hussein, he then makes a request to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. He says to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, he says that, oh my Mawla, oh my Aka, oh Yabna Rasulullah, I want permission to be able to address the women in your camp. I want the permission to address the women in your camp. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam gives permission to Hur. So Hur now comes and he stations himself outside the camp of the women folk of Qaymaga, of Imam Hussein. And then Imam Hussein gives he makes an announcement. He says to the women folk that Hur has come and he wants to talk to you. So the women folk gather inside the tent. Hur is outside the tent, and he says to the women folk, he says that I am the reason why you have been here brought to Karbala. I am the reason why your children are dying of thirst. I want you to come here to ask you for forgiveness. And do you, all women folk, forgive me for the mistake that I committed? And the women of Banu Hashim say to Hur, oh Hur, we have forgiven you. For our master, Abu Abdullah has forgiven you. They say, Hur, we have forgiven you. But look at Hur still, huh? Hur says to them that I am not satisfied. He says that I have still one question for you. What is the question, O Hur? And Hur says, tell me, will you complain about me to Fatima al-Zahra? Will you complain about me to Fatima al-Zahra? My God, he says, I will not leave this place until you assure me that on the day of Qiyamah, you will not complain to Fatima al-Zahra. And the women folk get together and say, oh, we promise you that we will not complain about you to Fatima al-Zahra. It is at that time that Hur now starts and makes his journey into the battlefield. This is the personality of Hur. His Wasila and attachment to Fatima al-Zahra. The historians say that on the night of Ashura, Hur is in between Jannah and Jahannam. Hur is in a state of restlessness and agitation. He's agitated, he doesn't know what to do. At some point he looks and he listens. And he listens and he sees. He listens and he listens to the Khaymaga of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And he thinks to himself, he hears two kinds of voices. There is the voices of the buzzing of the bees, where the Abu Abdullah and his companions are all immersed in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the recitation of the Quran and the dua. But then Hur listens closely and he is able to hear a second sound, and this is the sound of the small children. And he looks at the river of Furat and he sees that the river of Furat is making a noise, yet the daughters and the children of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, the children of the Holy Prophet, are tugging on the abaya of their mother, and they are saying, Al-Adash, Al-Adash, oh thirst, oh thirst. When Hur hears this, he is not able to bear it, and he thinks to himself, oh Hur, what are you doing in this place? He makes his way. In the morning, the historians write that it is dawn. The sun has just creeped out. The sun has not even come out on it. It's just dawn. The sun is just coming out. At that time, Hur sees Murrah ibn Qais. Murrah ibn Qais from the army of Umar ibn Sa'd. He sees that Murrah is taking some horses and he's taking these horses to the river of Furat. So Hur follows Murrah ibn Qais. And then he sees that Murrah ibn Qais stations the horses near the Furat. Murrah now goes into the river of Furat and he takes buckets of water, and he takes these buckets of water and he pours the buckets of water onto the feet and the hooves of the horses. When Hur sees this, he goes to Murrah and he says to Murrah, "What are you doing?" And Murrah says to Hur, "Don't ask. The sun has not even come out. It is just dawn and the sun is just creeping out. But the heat is so bad in Karbala. The ground of Karbala is burning with heat that the horses are not able to even put their feet on the ground of Karbala. So I am pouring water on the feet of the horses so that they may get some relief." When Hur hears this, he says to Murrah, "Murrah, you are worrying about the horses and the feet and the hooves of the horses, for they are not able to put their feet on the grounds of Karbala. But have you not heard the sounds of the small children of Abu Abdullah Hussain? The small children of Abu Abdullah Hussain tugging on the abayas of their mother, tugging on the abayas of their mother, pulling on those abayas, and now you are telling me that the horses are more important than the children of Abu Abdullah Hussain." Hussain, ایک مرتبہ حر نے اس وقت اپنے آپ کو یہ کہا کہ بس اب میں حسین کی طرف جاؤں گا. حر نے ارادہ کیا کہ وہ اب عبداللہ کی طرف جائے گا. ایک مرتبہ حر انہیں ساتھ خیمہ گاہ سے نکلے ہیں. وہاں اب عبداللہ کے خیمے میں امام حسین نے فضل عباس سے کہا, عباس میرا مہمان آنے والا ہے, میری یہ خواہش ہے کہ تم جا کے حر کا استقبال کرو. عزادارو عباس حر کے خیمے سے نکلا ہے, حر اپنے عمر ابن سعد کے خیمے سے نکلے ہیں. اب یہ دونوں بہادر بیچ میں ایک مرتبہ ملتے ہیں. عباس نے حر کو دیکھا, حر نے عباس کو دیکھا, دونوں بہادر ملے. ایک مرتبہ حر نے اپنے سر کو جھکا دیا. حر نے کہا, ابو الفضل میں معافی کے لیے آیا ہوں, کیا تم مجھے ابا عبداللہ کے پاس لے جاؤ گے؟ بس یہ کہنا تھا. عباس نے کہا, حر میرے آقا نے مجھے استقبال کے لیے بھیجا ہے, میں تمہیں ابا عبداللہ کے پاس لے جاؤں گا. بس عزادارو ایک مرتبہ عباس نے حر کے ہاتھ کو تھاما اور بڑی ہی عزت کے ساتھ خیمہ گاہ کی طرف آ رہے ہیں. ایک مرتبہ جب خیمہ گاہ کے قریب پہنچے ہیں تو حر ایک مرتبہ رک گئے. کہتے ہیں, ابو الفضل میری ایک درخواست ہے. کیا بات ہے حر؟ حر میں سوچا تھا کہ تم تو بہت بے چین ہو گیا ابا عبداللہ میرے آقا کو ملنے کے لیے. حر نے کہا, بے چین تو ہوں لیکن ایک درخواست ہے. کیا بات ہے حر؟ حر نے کہا, عباس میرے دونوں ہاتھ عباس میرے دونوں ہاتھ میرے چہرے پہ باندھ لو تاکہ میں حسین کے پاس جب جاؤں, میں نہیں جانتا کہ میں حسین کے پاس کیسے جا سکوں گا, میں اس کو میرا منہ کیسے دکھا سکوں گا. میرے ہاتھ میرے چہرے کے آگے باندھ لو. ایک مرتبہ عباس نے حر کے ہاتھ کو باندھا. عباس اب حر کو لے کے آئے ہیں مولا کے پاس. ایک مرتبہ حر ابا عبداللہ کے قدموں پہ گر کے کہتا ہے, آقا میں معافی کے لیے آیا ہوں, مجھے معاف کر دینا. میری وجہ سے آپ کے بچے 3 دن تک بھوکے اور پیاسے ہیں. میری وجہ سے آپ کو کربلا آنا پڑا. کیا آپ مجھے معاف کر سکیں گے. اب عبداللہ نے حور کو لیا, ایک مرتبہ حور کو اٹھایا, کہتا ہے حور تیری ماں نے تیرا نام صحیح رکھا ہے, کیونکہ حور کہتے ہیں مرد آزاد کو. جب حور نے یہ سنا ہے اور پھر امام الحسین نے کہا حور جا میں نے بھی تجھے معاف کیا اور میرے اللہ نے بھی تجھے معاف کیا. جب امام الحسین نے یہ کہا کہ میں نے بھی معاف کیا, میرے اللہ نے بھی معاف کیا, تو لوگوں نے اللہ اکبر کی آواز بلند کی, تکبیر کی آواز بلند ہوئی. جب تکبیر کی آواز بلند ہوئی ہے تو ایک مرتبہ خیمہ گاہ میں جناب زینب کے کانوں میں تکبیر کی آواز گونجی. زینب ایک مرتبہ فضا سے کہتی ہے فضا یہ کربلا کے میدان میں عاشور کے دن یہ تکبیر کی آواز کہاں سے آ رہی ہے, اس کی کیا وجہ ہے؟ فضا کہتی ہے شہزادی ابھی بتا کرتی ہوں. تو فضا گئی, تھوڑی دیر کے بعد آ کے کہتی ہے شہزادی حور آیا ہے بھائی کی نصرت کے لیے, حور آیا ہے اب عبداللہ کی نصرت کے لیے. بس یہ سننا تھا. زینب نے کہا فضا جا کے حور کو میرا سلام, جا کے حور کو میرا سلام بھیجو. ایک مرتبہ فضا آتی ہے حور کے پاس, کہتی ہے حور ثانیہ زہرا نے سلام بھیجا ہے. حور زمین کربلا پہ گر گیا. ایک مرتبہ آسمان کی طرف دیکھ کے کہتا ہے یا اللہ یہ کیسا دن آ گیا, ثانیہ زہرا مجھ جیسے غلام کو سلام بھیج رہی ہے. ایک مرتبہ عبداللہ سے کہا میں اجازت چاہوں گا جنگ کے لیے. مؤرخ لکھتے ہیں کہ حور جب جنگ کے لیے گیا ہے تو بہت سے لوگوں کو جہنم واصل کیا, واصل جہنم کیا. لیکن ایک ایسا وقت آتا ہے کہ ایک ملعون نے حور کے پیچھے سے تلوار کا وار کیا. جب تلوار کا وار کیا ہے تو حور گھوڑے سے زمین پہ گرے. جب گھوڑے سے زمین پہ گرے اب حور نے صدا دی السلام علیکم یا ابا عبداللہ, اے میرے آقا میری مدد کے لیے آؤ. حسین نے جب حور کے سلام کو سنا ہے ایک مرتبہ دورے حور کی طرف, حور کی لاش پہ جب حسین آئے ہیں حور کو لیا, حور کے سر کو لیا, اپنی آغوش میں ڈالا. حور کے سر کو آغوش میں ڈال کے حسین نے کہا حور میں بہت شرمندہ ہوں, تو میرا مہمان تھا, میں تجھے پانی بھی نہیں دے سکا. حور کے سر پہ زخم تھا. ایک مرتبہ دیکھو فاطمہ الزہرا کا وسیلہ حور کے لیے, فاطمہ الزہرا کا وسیلہ حور کے لیے امام حسین نے ایک مرتبہ حور کے لیے وہ رومال نکالا جو فاطمہ الزہرا کا رومال تھا. حور کے سر پہ رومال کو باندھا. ایک مرتبہ جب رومال کو باندھا حور نے خدا حافظ کہا. میں کہوں گا حور تو بڑا قسمت والا ہے, تجھے آغوش ابا عبداللہ ملی مرنے کے وقت, تجھے فاطمہ الزہرا کا رومال ملا. لیکن کچھ دیر کے بعد جب میرا آقا ابا عبداللہ الحسین جب وہ